Welcome to Thoroughbred 360, insights, stories and strategy from the commercial world of thoroughbred racing with your host, Bruce Slade. Welcome everybody to our podcast number 12. This is a review of the 2026 Magic Millions, and what an incredible event this is. We must be so grateful as an industry to Jerry Harvey, to Katie Page Harvey, to Barry Bowditch, all the Magic Millions team. The event this is growing into that kickstarts our sales season, our breeding and racing thoroughbred industry year is just so positive. It's powerful, it's punchy. It's just a great way to start the year. Everyone's energized, everyone's connected, everyone's enjoying themselves, and I must say the Magic Millions Carnival again delivered in every respect. That big Sunlight Gold race meeting on the Saturday pre the sale starting the week after, that's a great event. The sun went down, the lights went on, all the industry participants were there having a nice drink to welcome in the sales season, to catch up after a busy festive season, a busy breeding season. People were there from all around the world, and of course they had the big slot race as well, which we saw great commitment from not only the slot holders and stables and the people involved there in the industry in a deep way, but also the racing owners and syndicates involved. So that was a great way to start the Magic Millions Carnival, and I hear that Katie Page has big plans for that, growing, going further. It's a gold meeting, everyone wears a touch of gold, it's lots of glamour and glitz. And we hear that Katie has got some bigger things in store for that night, which is fantastic. That rolled into the polo, the show jumping, the barrier draw on the beach, all unique events. The big sale, 1,000 horses then sold through the week on the Gold Coast, on the beach. People enjoy themselves, restaurants packed out, great nightlife, great vibe. And I think probably that is the way to measure the sale. It's the vibe. There were so many people around. People were feeling good about things. I must say, from a Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott point of view, it's just a terrific way for people in the industry to involve their clients, involve their supporters, give them a great experience, give them a lot of fun, and that of course then leads into support and more investment in the sport, particularly through this week of the sale. I think the ambassadors are great for the sport. Billy Slater and Nicole Slater with her art, and Billy with his love for the game and his overall pull in terms of the Australian public. The Royals been involved, add the touch of class to the whole event too. And I thought the addition of Brittany Ayrton, Nick Luck, these sort of American UK broadcasters that have big followings in those countries, really brought a fresh set of eyes on Australia, on the Gold Coast, on the Magic Millions, on the Australian industry at this time of year. And that was really, really positive and cool to see Nick Luck going a step further, of course, and putting a little syndicate together to race a couple of horses over here while he's here too. So great involvement. They obviously enjoyed themselves, and they'll be coming back on the back of their experience this year, which of course will pull in further international interest in our industry. On the Sunlight slot race, terrific to win that race this year with Grafter Burners, of course, on the Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott slot. We did something pretty cool with that, knowing we didn't have a horse for the race this year. We actually syndicated our slot amongst 5 Queensland-based owners. They then obviously were 5 Queensland-based owners. They were able to enjoy the night. We obviously got Grafter Burners on the slot, which was terrific. Just awesome dealing with Kelly Schweida, his trainer, and Glenn Betts, his owner, and their ownership group. They were very, very straightforward to deal with. Just some background to that, lucky to have Rob Waterhouse in our corner. He profiled the race, told us which horses he thought would have the best chance, and it was Grafter Burners, his number one pick, that we decided to go after. Spoke to Kelly. He was in two minds about which way to go with the horse, whether he wanted to go up in distance. But I think on the back of our discussion and the horse's performance, we gave Kelly the confidence through Rob's judgment to say, Kelly, if you want to target that race, it's a race that we think Grafter Burners can win. And they did so. As a result, they picked up the lion's share of the $3 million prize money. In terms of the slot itself, the deal structure, love to share a bit about that with you probably this week, now that we can see it in retrospect, but learned a lot about slot races through this particular deal, around a deal that's fair and equitable, but instead of thinking about just the prize money, thinking about how that reflects to where those horses are priced in the market, and even giving yourself a chance to lay off any exposure you might have. So that was very interesting, and I learned a lot about slot races from the 2026 edition of the Sunlight. Now, of course, this Sunlight slot is based on a 70-30 type model where 70% of the prize money is put up by the slot holders and 30% by Magic Millions and Racing Queensland. So that is in line with what they've done with the Meteorite and the Supernova in Melbourne. Of course, the Everest and the Quokka are better in terms of the slot holders' exposure. So those races have got closer to a 60-40 split or a 50-50 split in the case of the Everest. Now, of course, those races are more mature. They have gone up in prize money to get to those sort of percentages. As the next thing for the Sunlight is to perhaps leave the slot cost the same. And I think that'll then, increase the quality of the field and give slot holders more to bargain with when it comes down to doing deals with the leading 3-year-old sprinters of Australia. Of course, all the Magic Millions events funnel into the sale of just under 1,000 horses in Book 1, and of course Book 2 on the Sunday as well. But at Book 1, Tuesday through Friday, I thought Annie O'Rourke was very interesting when I asked her at the end of Friday night session. I said, what's the one metric that you look at to sort of gauge how a sale's gone? And instead of saying median or average or anything, I thought she said something quite interesting. She said vibe. She said the feel of the sale. And I thought that was interesting because the feel really was that vendors were happy, buyers were happy. You know, there was very competitive bidding. We didn't get everything we wanted, but we got enough of what we wanted. And vendors the same. You know, the clearance rate showed that, you know, I think they're just sitting under 88% now, 87% or something like that. That just shows that, you know, the vendors were putting their horses on at where they expected their value should be, and the market was meeting that at a really high percentage rate. So really interesting. I thought the vibe, as Annie touched on, was great. There was people everywhere. Overall, a fantastic sale. Let's touch on the buyers first. I think, importantly, the domestic market, the locals were strong. All the big players in the game were at Magic Millions, enjoying themselves, investing. They enjoy the experience, the events. They enjoy the Magic Millions carnival, the prize money on offer, and all the big names, the Wallers, the Waterhouse Bots, the Akira Mars, the Michael Friedman, Annabelle and Rob Archibald, Henry, the Newgate China Horse Club Colt Syndicate, James Harron, his Colts and Fillies Syndicates, Seamus Mills, Tiakau. I think I've knocked all those sort of top 10 buyers off in that sort of quick rundown. They were all active, well organised, well supported by their client bases and enjoying themselves. The only person not in the top 10 buyers sheet this year compared to last year was Resolute Bloodstock. So John Stewart, unfortunately not able to make it to the sale this year. He was probably the one person that, you know, out of the top 10 was missing in action. And maybe that is probably, if you're going to sort of touch on anything from the sale, maybe what was missing a little bit this year was that sort of new blood. All the solid, consistent players were all in action, but there was probably no one new, particularly at that middle to top end, that was active. So that's probably something we'll look for in the 2027 and beyond. $15 million plus yearlings, that was more than the 13 from the year before. So that was a positive indication as well. $15 million yearlings, which was 2 more than the previous year, another positive indication for the market. Stallions wise, what was interesting there? On averages, the biggest averages were all the biggest names. The Extreme Choices, the Schnitzels, the Vinnies, the Zoo Stars, the Written Tycoons. They were all topping the averages again, had big sales. Probably of the big name, big service fees, Too Done Hot and Wootton Bassett would probably had tricky sales. You know, for stallions that stand at the same price points as those other horses I've just mentioned, they average some 150, $200,000 less than their counterparts. Now, that's not to say they're as every bit as good as in terms of as stallions themselves, but I think it reflected the years they were in. Wooten Bassett, of course, his third season crop, a lesser quality mare, and that probably shone through in the quality on off at the sale. And Too Unhot the same. He was in that tricky year, I think fourth season for him, and again, the quality wasn't there at the same scale as it has been previously. They'll be looking to capitalise on their racetrack success probably in 2 to 3 years' time. Of the first crop size, Animo, wow, 31 offered, 31 sold, large numbers, great clearance rate. Market was absolutely hot for them. He averaged 469,000, so he averaged, he's up there with Snitzel and Vinny and Zoostar and those sort of horses by average. They were lovely yearlings, a lot of them out of really nice mares. A horse that's been given absolutely every opportunity, Animo. And I know from a buyer's point of view, they were just very hard to buy. I think we ended up buying one in the sale. She went on the website and she had the most activity out of any yearling we purchased in terms of interest. So I think that just showed what appetite there was from the public who watched Animo race, who loved him. They wanted to get involved in his first crop yearlings, and he's been very, very well set up going forward. Of the other first crop size, Jacquino and In the Congo, they were the next two probably in line. They both averaged similarly 180, around that 180 mark, found good homes, sold well, both sharp, fit that real Magic Millions mould, and sold very well. On a personal note, I thought we did really well with Gay and Adrian. I thought we bought some really good stock, as you'd always say, I'm sure, but we top-rated stuff, sharp stuff. I thought we were particularly good on the fillies. Of ones that we still have shares available in, I think of the fillies, I literally think we bought probably 8 of the top 10 fillies in the sale. Now that might sound crazy, but the fillies were weighted towards the end of the sale, and I think there was a few syndicates that maybe had done their dash by then before these fillies went in, thinking they were going to make more. The likes of Scorched Earth for $850, I thought she was terrific buying. Looks an immediate, sharp, flying machine. The Stella Pauline, great residual. Looks like a real Not a Single Doubt. I know she's by I'm Invincible, but she's out of a Not a Single Doubt. Really precocious early family. She looked really sharp to my eye. With Valerie, we purchased 3 fillies. $1 million for Lincoln Star filly. She's all sold, but she was an absolute queen, in line with those other 2 fillies. And then we bought a couple of Zoo Stars that were great buying, $500,000 each for the Ready to Profit and the Dorothy of Oz. Now both fillies with big residual, big dam lines, but the right styles of Zoo Star. They had great strength to them, great Gaskins, great past intention, great actions, great minds, great jowls. We know Zoo Star has had some of the best fillies going around in the last few seasons, and I thought they honestly could have made 50% more, 100% more than they did. So I thought they were great buying. Have a look at them, the Ready to Profit and the Dorothy of Oz filly. Plenty happening in those families. Another couple of fillies to mention, the Justify Bella Rossa on day one, early in the sale. Ramiro Restrepo, actually should give a shout out to Ramiro, first time out from America. Loved having him in Australia. He loved that Justify filly so much that he brought a significant interest and put colours on her. But as he said, when she walks, it's just like pop, pop, pop. She just got incredible fast twitch muscle. She's sharp off the mark, even at a walk, and I think you'll be seeing her nice and early. A good one to have a look at if you want to get involved in a bit of quality. And then if you're looking for a bit of value, the Wild Rule that we bought late in the piece, lot 935, I think she was, out of Unbridled Courage. This, Switzerland type deal, Wild Ruler by Snitzel out of a fast American mare. Her withers popped. She's physical. She looks fast. She looks early. She was great buying late in the sale. So it was bought around sale average. So have a look at her. Of the Colts, Wild Rule again looked good value. Lot 6 early in the sale for $200,000. The done deal out of Patacotta, we just bought him on spec. Don't buy a lot of done deals, not probably in our sort of wheelhouse in terms of precocity, but this horse out of a Fastnet Rock mare, just like Stormboy, was a fast 2-year-old from that custard family, real speed on speed, precocity on precocity with the done deal. I thought he was as sharp as they get by that stallion, but then of course could train on like they do, a militarized type horse. And the Alabama Express from Yearling, wowzers. Highest price ever Alabama Express yearling sold. There was so much competition on him. He's big, he's powerful, he's forward, he's got a huge action, awesome past intention, Gaskins on him as big as you ever seen, and a pedigree that's very believable, obviously, out of a full sister to Pierrata, that terrific Joy of Flight family. And finally, State of Rest Colt, out of State of Rest Colt. He was a $250,000 purchase. Looks like a Star Spangled Banner though. He's chestnut, he's got that awesome physicality, obviously his own sire was a top class racehorse. His mother is a 3/4 sister in Muay Thai. Looks a runner to my eye. Thought he was great value at $250,000. But like I say, remember his grandfather, a Star Spangled Banner, and then look at that colt. They are peas in a pod. He looks fast, given his profile. We will be doing a review in long form of all our purchases, just to try and give you some insight. It was very interesting to see how much interest we had in our piece discussing the Animo filly earlier in the week. I thought that went down very well with all of you. Plenty of likes, follows and questions. So yeah, we might do some more long form stuff, talking through why we purchased these horses, and that might, I don't know, deliver some insight along the way. Sometimes I guess when you're in it, you don't realize what's insightful and what might be new to people. So we might just do a long form thing there for those of you that have a deeper interest. Let us know if you'd like to see that, if that's something you'd like to see. It's going to be long form, but much more detailed. Finally, a wrap up of Magic Millions race day. I think they put on over $20 million of prize money over the gold day and the big day. So firstly, a big thanks to Magic Millions, 2 great events. Congratulations to Kiramar and their team. Of course, won a few races on the card, including the big one, the Magic Millions Tyrrell Classic with Unit 5. Of course, Unit 5, just a great story, an emotional win for all the team there at Widden Stud. He is, of course, named after Dave Merrick, who he sadly lost to cancer last year. Unit 5 was, of course, in the Widden Valley without mobile reception, the radio that Dave Merrick used to call in from and receive radio messages from. So I know that meant a lot to the guys. Of course, they own the mare as well, a lot of the team there. So have the mare being bred up. He was a great style of yearling. They got paid well enough for him, but he's now gone on and won the Magic Millions and added a lot more value, not only from the prize money, but also to their mare at home. And it's just one of those results in racing where you know there's something bigger at play, a higher being or something, because it just happens all too often where racing can really pull you up in tough times. And the 3-year-old, of course, Talk to Be Sure, beat Ninja. A lot of discussion there around the protest. Of course, Ninja, no doubt the best horse in the race, drawn wide, ran enormous. In terms of the protest itself, I'll probably side with the stewards in terms of Talk to Be Sure winning the race, to be fair. You know, the stewards have to be 100% confident that the result would have been the other way around had that interference not occurred, and I'm not sure. I just don't think you could say that, given what a big run Ninja had to make into the race, how Talk to Be Sure was running through the line, and how close that second interference happened to the post. So I think that was fair enough, but keep following Ninja. He's going to win some really nice races going forward and is certainly one of the best 3-year-olds in Australia currently. And finally, a great day for another team I work with, Newgate Farm. Tassort filly won the debut race. Capitalist did it again on a big day. King of Rousseau taking it the Magic Millions Cup up for $1 million. And then Hawker Hall led them all the way for Russian Revolution in the last. So great to see those Newgate Speed Stallions prominent on such a big day. Now with Magic Millions, a bit later this year, we've now got back-to-back sales. This week we of course leave for Karaka, that New Zealand Bloodstock sale, their 100th. Look forward to bringing you some content from there. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please like, subscribe, please give us your feedback. These are the events that we feel had the most significant commercial impact on our industry over the last week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for listening.